Welcome back. This one will certainly satisfy your sweet tooth, this recipe. Krissy Gibson is in the kitchen baking double chocolate chip cookies with white chocolate chips. Morning, Krissy.
Hey, we've got an alternative, though. You can use dark chocolate chips. In fact, my lord, you have some cookies with dark chocolate chips there. You can really make these any way you like.
Now, they're only for me, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Just verifying that with everybody else.
Yeah, we always have to make
onlookers.
We always have to make these little adjustments for Simon.
You do, yes. Anyway, how do we make the best chocolate chip cookies?
Something that you have to do with this recipe, and I'm not always that picky with this, but you really do have to mix together all your dry ingredients first. So I've got 350 grams of self-raising flour in here, 60 grams of unsweetened baking cocoa, and 5 grams of bread soda, just 2 grams of salt. That's a quarter teaspoon, so not much. Mix all those together well so they're nice and evenly blended. You see that?
So when you say baking cocoa, you can't use like hot chocolate.
Correct.
Right.
Thanks for asking. That's sweet.
So
Baker's cocoa is unsweetened.
All right,
so we're going to set that aside.
I thought you meant that sweet that I asked you. But it doesn't matter. Carry on, Krissy.
I'm sweet enough. So we've got 225 grams of butter. Yes. I am using salted butter today because we were only using a tiny bit of salt.
Okay.
So I'm using a half a pound of salted butter, which is 225 grams. We're adding to it 150 grams of castor sugar. You can also use granulated sugar. Okay. Whip this up with an electric hand mixer or a stand-up mixer if you have one. Okay. Make it nice and creamy.
Okay.
Okay. When that's nice and fluffy, we're adding to it 200 grams of light muscovado sugar, not dark muscovado sugar, not demerara. Light muscovado sugar. We're going to blend that up again. And notice how we're using a bit more of the light muscovado sugar than we did the white sugar.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is we want a soft cookie. I have a thing about soft cookies. If I were to use all white sugar, what we would have are some crispy cookies.
You'd have biscuits, basically.
Yeah. And
these are going to be nice and chewy in the middle.
And they'll stay chewy the next day.
Oh,
so
the next day?
Sure.
Who has cookies left over?
Whatever's left. Hey, listen, in my house, I make a double of everything. They have to last all weekend.
I hear you.
So we mix this up nice and fluffy. And to this, we're going to add 2 eggs, okay? I've mixed my eggs up already.
Okay.
You don't have to. 2 eggs to that, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, which is just about 5 mils, okay? And as you know, I never use vanilla essence. I always use pure, extract. It's just a more concentrated vanilla flavor, more bang for your buck.
Okay.
So we're gonna blend this up nice and evenly and start to add our dry ingredients, okay? I'll do this in 2 goes. Add half of it, blend it up, and there's one other, you know how I said that you've got to blend your dry ingredients
together,
first?
Yeah.
There's one other thing that you have to do with this recipe that really you have no choice, but you've got to do it. When you take them out of the oven, you have to let them sit on the tray for at least 5 minutes because these are going to be nice and soft, and we want them that way. But if you take them off right away, they're going to fall apart. You don't want that. So now we've got all of our dry ingredients added, and we're going to very carefully blend this in so I don't make too much of a mess. Now, I did mention before that you can use white chocolate chips, which are my kids' favorite, or dark chocolate chips.
Which are my favorite.
I know. And that's why you have dark chocolate chips in front of you today.
I know.
I should say that if you can't find baking morsels like the one that I have here on the counter, don't use buttons. You might be tempted.
Yeah, you mentioned that before in terms of just try and get the proper baking chocolate chips.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen is chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, they only have 2 jobs in this world: to taste good and to hold their shape, okay? But buttons, they're gonna melt, and they're gonna melt all over your baking tray. So not only are your cookies gonna be a mess, but the chocolate's gonna burn on the bottom of your tray, and then your kitchen is gonna smell like burnt chocolate.
And we don't want that.
No, so don't be tempted to use buttons. It's not gonna work in this case. So this is blended well enough that we can go ahead and add our white chocolate chips, okay?
Very dry, the mixture, isn't it?
It is, but it won't end up dry.
Oh, okay. So aim with your chips of choice.
Yes, chips of choice. And I do use my electric mixer for this. I don't bother mixing it in by hand. Now, when it's time to put these on your baking tray, depending upon how big your trays are, you can fit either 9 or 12. And listen to my mixer
Yeah, it's struggling, isn't it?
Come on, come on.
We got a minute
All right,
left, Krissy.
This is good. Now, just take a teaspoon and put a bit on your tray, ungreased cookie tray, all right? Okay. Smaller cookies you want to bake for 7 minutes at 160.
Okay.
Larger cookies you want to bake for, say, 9 minutes at 160.
And these are going to spread a little, aren't they?
A little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit. Give that a try, Simon. You can also chill this dough before you bake it if you want.
Right, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it?
Let us know
I normally don't eat this early on a Saturday.
Says the man who was cooking up sausages last time I was here. Does that work for you?
They're very good.
It's a good chocolate fix, isn't it?
I couldn't eat more than 12 of them, though. I have to be honest.
Simon, I'm the same way. Actually, these cookies are dangerous for me. A couple of years ago, we made one together, chocolate oatmeal chippers, which are sort of like this, but they have raw porridge oats in them. These, for me, go down a lot easier.
Thank you so much, Krissy. They are beautiful. If you fancy some of these white chocolate chip cookies, the recipe is, of course, available on the Virgin Media Television website. Up next, television royalties amongst us. Mary Kennedy is in the studio. Stay with us.